How are you doing today? How are you feeling? Where are you located? Share with me in the chat. I live in Raleigh. So today is such a beautiful day. It is so warm outside, isn't it? It feels like an April day, although it's January. It's a little strange. So, where are you? How's the weather where you are? How's your work week going? Are you stressed out? Have you been playing as hard as you work? Are you enjoying yourself? Are you adding some much needed value into the world, into the workplace, into your community, into your family? Share with me if this year so far is pretty good. So far things are going good. Share with me in the chat. Things have been going excellent for me. I took a break the last week of the year to do a wellness week. I put out a lot of videos for that. So just check out my social medias if you're looking for some tools to help jumpstart your year, to help order it, to make sure that you are showing up, being your best self, and accomplishing what you have to do, right? And so this week is kind of my first full week back, and I didn't completely stop working for Wellness Week. I had a couple of appointments that I just couldn't move, but this is my first week back for swing, and I am excited. New Year's or January through, I would say, April are my most busiest months because most people reevaluate their lives. They look at their jobs, they look at what's going well in their lives, what's not going well in their lives, and they reevaluate. They make new plans, they move on. If their job is stressful, one of the first things that they will change about their lives is the position or the company. And so we want to keep in mind that we cannot outrun stress. We can keep running. We can jump from job to job to job, but there is no outrunning stress. We're creating retention everywhere we go instead of just learning how to manage our stress. Go to stress education, figure out how to implement them into your life, and find a community where you can sustain what it is that you learn. And so that's so important to do instead of just leaving a job that stress you out. You have made such an impact there. There's more to do. You just have to manage your stress so that it's not standing in the way of you being your best self. So I have about 8:02. I mean, sorry, 12:02. I try to do this within 15 minutes. I'm not sure if you're on break or if you're on lunch. If you're on lunch, you tend to get 30 minutes to an hour. But if you just are on break, you have 15 minutes. So I like to do this within 15 minutes. So welcome, Work Life Warriors. I hope you are doing well this week. This is your wellness work break. So during the wellness work break, we focus on techniques that you can use in the workplace. And most of the time, it's deep breathing that it should be the first stress management tool that you reach for when you are feeling out of control because our breathing is our life, right? And so if you can manage your breathing, if you can slow it down and normalize it, then you get to reevaluate what is happening in the present moment, and you get to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which helps you relax. So it's so beneficial. And so most Wednesdays for our wellness work break, I do deep breathing. And so this is our first one of the year. So welcome. Right now I have 12:04. I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I'm not sure how long everyone has, but I know I would like to do this within 15 minutes. So I am excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for tuning in. I am Ebony Davenport and I teach stress management. I show people how to utilize fund management solutions to decrease stress and counter burnout so that they can be happier, healthier, and well balanced. I use over 50 tips, tools, tricks, or techniques to manage stress. But today we're going to talk about the king of stress management, which is breathing. Breathing is a necessity of life that most people take for granted. It is something we do without thinking about. Yet it is so vital to our existence because it is our life force. Stress is feeling out of control instead of inner peace. And when we are stressed, our breathing is the first thing impacted. Our breathing rhythm changes under distress, and poor breathing habits diminish the flow of gases to and from our body, making it harder to cope with stressful situations. Improper breathing contributes to anxiety, panic attacks, depression, muscle tension, headache, in fatigue. If an insufficient amount of air reaches your lungs, your blood is not properly oxygenated, and your heart rate and muscle tension will increase, and your stress response is turned on. An anxious person takes shallow, tiny breaths, moving air in and out their lungs via their shoulders rather than their diaphragm. So this types of breathing throw off our equilibrium, and it makes it hard for us to get the oxygen we need for our brain to fully function, right? Shallow overbreathing, also known as hyperventilating, can amplify anxiety symptoms by aggravating physical stress symptoms. Some of these symptoms can be alleviated by controlling your breathing. And I believe once you become a master, all of these symptoms can be alleviated by controlling your breathing. Learning to be aware of your breathing by practicing slowing and normalizing your breaths, your mind will become quiet and your body will relax. Breathing awareness and good breathing habits will enhance your psychological and physical well being, whether you practice them alone or in combination with other relaxation techniques like walking, meditation, yoga, reading. There's so many. When you inhale, air is drawn in through our nose where it is warm to body temperature, humidified, and partially cleansed. Our diaphragm is a sheet like muscle separating our lungs from our abdomen, facilitating our breathing by expanding and contracting as we breathe in and out. With each breath of air, we obtain oxygen and release the carbon product, waste product, carbon dioxide. When you breathe, there's just two types of patterns, and really, let's just think about it. When we think of patterns, for me, well, most of us in this society, we were taught to stand up straight, put your shoulders back, suck in your stomach, and put your chin up, right? And it's not good for taking in deep breaths. It's not good for abdominal breathing. It's actually chest or thoracic breathing. And it's associated with anxiety and other emotional distress. It is also common in people who wear restrictive clothing, lead sedentary lives, or stressful lives. Chest breathing is shallow and often irregular and rapid. So we do not want to breathe this way. When I first learned about stress management, I realized that I was breathing this way and I had to do the work to learn to breathe from my abdomen. Or what is called diaphragmic breathing. So abdominal breathing is how we breathe naturally as babies and sleeping adults. So if you ever put a baby down and you watch a baby sleep, their belly rises up and down as they breathe. But and as we grow older, or depending on the society that you live in, you may be taught to stand a certain way, which impacts your breathing, right? So it impacts how much air is drawn into your lungs and how much you are exhaling. So when we practice abdominal or diaphragmic breathing, the air is drawn deep into our lungs and exhale as the diaphragm contracts and expands. Breathing is even and non-constricting, and the respiratory system can do its job of producing energy from oxygen and removing waste products. So let's take a poll really quickly on how we're breathing. What I'm going to do is just take about 30 seconds. Let's just breathe normally. I want you to breathe normally, and I want you to see, how do you breathe? When you are breathing, is your shoulders rising as you breathe in and out, or is your belly, um, going in and out as you breathe? And that is the way you can tell whether you're practicing chest or thoracic breathing versus diaphragmic breathing. And so we're just going to take about 30 seconds and just listen to ourselves breathe, and just kind of figure out what type of breathing we practice. Ready, go. So if you notice that when I'm breathing, my shoulders are not. This is chest or thoracic breathing. You want to make sure that you are bringing the air deep down into your belly, and your belly is inhaling and exhaling with the air as opposed to your shoulders, right? So by so again, share in the chat what type of breathing you're doing. I bet most people are doing throat or chest breathing because it's how we're taught in this society, but it's easy to change. You just have to focus and be aware of the type of breathing. So share with me in the chat what type of breathing you are doing now. As mentioned, when I first learned stress management, I was practicing chest or thoracic breathing, but now I practice abdominal or diaphragmatic breathing. It is so much better. It gives you so much clarity, and you have so much more capacity to think through things when you're getting your proper air, right? So by increasing awareness of your own breathing patterns and shifting to more abdominal breathing, you can reduce the muscle tension and anxiety present with stress related symptoms or thoughts. Diaphragmatic breathing is the easiest way of eliciting a relaxation response. And that is because it taps or activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the relaxation system. Most stress comes from thinking about the past or worrying about the future. But when you are in the present moment, when all of your attention is focused on deep breathing, there isn't any room for anything else to enter. So, we are going to do a couple of small breathing exercises right now. It's been about 11 minutes, so I have about 4 minutes to do this. We'll see how many we can get in these 4 minutes. But let's start with exercise one. Sit straight up in your chair, plant your feet. We want to listen to our breathing. We want to focus on our breathing to see if it's robust or shallow. So it doesn't necessarily at this point matter if you're practicing chest or thoracic breathing or abdominal breathing. We just want to figure out how much air you're taking in. Is your breathing robust or is it shallow, right? Because if you're not taking in enough air, then it's not properly oxygenating your body, and that's what we want to do, right? So let's just sit here for a couple of minutes and see how much air you take in. Is it quick, shallow breaths? Do you take in irregular, quick breaths? Or do you notice some sort of rhythm to your breathing and you're taking in a lot of air? Let's see. So my breathing is even, and we talk about when you practice diaphragmatic breathing, your breathing should be even. So you take as much air in the inhale as you do in the exhale. So if you're doing that, that's good. It's the first step. If not, if you find yourself taking tiny, shallow breaths, more inhale than exhale, or vice versa, then you just need to focus on your breathing so that you can manage more of your daily stressors. Okay, so let's move on to exercise two. We're going to inhale and exhale naturally. No need to rush air or force it out, in and out, just natural breathing. We're going to take in some deep breaths without strain. So, again, we're going to breathe in through our nose as much as we can, and we're going to let our shoulders rise as we breathe in only through our nose. And then we're going to exhale and let our shoulders relax as we breathe. Let's do about 3 to 5 of these. Ready? Go. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Don't rush it. Take your time. 2 more. Let your shoulders rise naturally. Good. Let's move on to exercise three. Sit straight up in your chair, plant your feet. I want you to inhale. I want you to feel the air going through your nostrils, down your throat, into your lungs, into your abdomen. I want you to feel it moving through each part. So stay with your breathing. I want you to ignite your senses. What do you smell, hear, taste, feel around you? And then I want you to give an exhale. Okay, let's do about two of these. Ready? You can close your eyes too if it helps. That it helps me. So I'm going to close my eyes. Ready? I hear the air conditioner and the birds chirping outside. It smells like fresh air in here. I haven't put on any aromatherapy yet. I taste toothpaste because I did brush my teeth. And what I see is your smiling face, hopefully smiling back at me. Okay, so we're going to do one more and we'll call it a day. We're going to do sigh breathing. So, what I want you to do is take a deep breath, inhale as much air as you possibly can through your nostrils. And then I want you to pause for a second and let out a deep sigh. We're going to do 5 of these. Okay, I'll do the first one and join in whenever you're ready. Ready? Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Taking as much air as you can. Pause before you sigh. Ready? This is the fourth one. Last one. Make it a big one. Take in as much air as you can. So, how do you feel, work life warriors? How do you feel after practicing some deep breathing exercises? One of the great things about using breathing to reduce stress is that you can practice anywhere, anytime. There are so many ways of incorporating breathing into your most stressful moments. So, breathing is the king of stress management. It is something that we should utilize, although we don't think about it because it's automated. It's a very powerful tool that we have at our disposal. We can use it anytime to reshape, reorder, and to ground us. So, breathing techniques are the king, and I hope you utilize them. Please share with me in the chat how you feel after practicing deep breathing, if you use deep breathing techniques to manage your stress. And so for me, that's why most of the wellness work breaks are deep breathing. Because if you are stressed out at work, which most of us are all the time, we need to focus on our breathing. So I do this every Wednesday at noon. So join me every Wednesday for the wellness work break. Most of the time it is breathing sessions. I do it within 15 minutes to 30 minutes, but definitely closer to 15 minutes. On Fridays, it's Fun Funny Fridays. Most of the time I do laughter yoga at noon. So join me here at noon to do some laughter yoga. On Mondays, I give a new tip, tool, trick, or technique to manage stress at noon. So join me at noon to learn a new technique. Also, if you need to receive some stress education and go over your lifestyle with a consultant who can help figure out a plan and provide a community of practice of other like-minded individuals so that you can stay focused. I do stress management personal lifestyle consultant. So check out my website or my social medias for that information. If you're looking for a more of a group setting, you can come to my stress management fun shops every third Saturday of the month. It is so much fun. It is like a party. We do 25 minutes of stress education, and then we spend the last hour and a half learning to implement them and sustain them and building connections for our community of practice. And so it is so important to practice stress. It is not optional. It is your responsibility to do so. It is your responsibility to to play as hard as you work. And so, in order for you to be your best self and to show up as your best self in the world and make sure that you are impacting the world the way you want, means that you have to manage your stress. It is not optional. It is not something you can push to the side. You want to make sure that what you're doing is adaptive and not maladaptive. So you want to make sure that the techniques, tools, tips, solutions, whatever it is that you use to manage stress is actually working, not just in the short term, because a lot of our techniques work in the short term, but they have long term consequences. So, as always, I am so grateful to come and share and to help and to serve the world, to add some much needed value in the world, to give you the tips, tools, tricks, and techniques you need to manage your stress, because living is a shared experience. So, if you're stressed out, I'm stressed out, right? So I want to do my part to make sure that people can show up, improve the quality of their life, and add some much needed value in the world. So I hope this helps, Work Life Warrior. Share with me in the chat if it does. If you learned something today, if you would like to practice more stress management techniques, if you will use deep breathing techniques. And as always, I will see you Friday at noon for some laughter yoga. Thank you so much, Work Life Warriors. Enjoy your hump day. And don't forget the